American natives. Now, I don't know if you know where Lake of the Woods is. It's a pretty exclusive spot, I hear.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not, it's not a Jeffrey Epstein type, caliber of island, but it is up there.
Yeah.
It's pretty famous.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at this post about Tara. Now, is this the article link?
I think this is at the bottom of the other post.
Yeah, it posted an article about Tara Houska, an interview with her about the tiny ripple of change, because this woman was saying that this lake cabin, it's not a tiny ripple.
No.
This is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Let's look at this Facebook post, which explains about the cabin. This article in the forum about the IRS investigation is a great explainer about the purchase of this $3.1 million cabin on Lake of the Woods. They bought it for, according to this post, spiritual practices.
Really?
And 3 years later, there's still no explanation with why they took money that was given to Standing Rock for Water Protectors legal aid, and now Tara has gone silent. She was mentored by Winona LaDuke. Of course, Winona LaDuke and her were working together on different organizations. And Tara spent millions for this spiritual place. According to this article with the Tara Houska interviewed, Great Lakes, Tara Houska represents the Great Lakes Coalition LLC, which became the property owner in the sale of this $1 million property.
Wow.
She's currently working to transfer the ownership of the land to a nonprofit that she founded that's called Goji Jing. Goji Jing. And also, she's a board of directors. A board of directors is being formed, to oversee the communal ownership and stewardship of the island. The purchase includes Bald Rock Point, which was made possible through donations. They don't tell you, though, those donations were meant for water protectors that got arrested at Standing Rock. That money was meant to defend indigenous rights.
Yeah.
Defend indigenous people. Defend people who were wronged by Morton County, who were discriminated, who were abused, who were human rights abused in jail, all sorts of things. And we have evidence, we have proof of the fact with regard to the Kathleen Bennett case. We've showed all of that. But also there were other people who were at first receiving, because they were high-profile cases, like Brennan Nastasio, who, away from Kyle Thompson at camp. Very, very high-profile came. He disarmed a man with an AK-47 at camp that was drugged up on meth. And so people were closely following what the Freshet and Water Protector Legal Collective were doing. And here are some of the posts from Samantha Magdaleno complaining about the fact that they weren't doing what they claimed they were supposed to do.
Exactly.
Here's a post that Jacqueline Keeler, the author we were just referencing, reposted about Samantha Magdaleno's live, in which they were discussing that many water protectors who are federal defendants are still dealing with the Freshet, which raised over $3 million to help with legal costs in the name of all of those water protectors. And the administrator for that money is Tara Houska.
Yep, exactly.
And it also states that Samantha Magdaleno posted that you would think that an attorney like Tara Houska would have her staff contact that offers people, that has her staff contacting and offering people $23,000 to take plea deals.
Wow.
And maximum of $5,000 to those that fight and perhaps win their trials. So they get less money if they
go to
fight
trial.
and go to trial. They get more money if they take a plea deal and go to jail.
Wow.
And she sent us emails that we posted before of the horrible lawyering that was being done by the Freshet and the Water Protector Legal Collective in terms of forcing people to get public defenders, forcing people to take plea deals, etc.
Yep.
And she said, I say maximum because if a defendant charges are dropped or they win their trial before December 2018, they get even less than the $5,000.
Really?
So the kinds of deals that this organization and the way that they were misusing and mishandling the money was very flagrant.
Yeah.
Of course, the way that people spend funds that are donated to nonprofits isn't very well overseen
Right. Yeah.
by the state's attorney generals.
No.
They are rarely charged or sanctioned.
Yep.
The most that the AG usually does is investigate and get them back into compliance if
Yep,
they can.
exactly.
Or shut down their nonprofit organization after years of not filing their proper paperwork.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's about it.
Yep.
That's why people take advantage of these organizations, because there is so little oversight, and
Exactly.
because there aren't very many authorities that are charging people for crimes of defrauding.
Yeah.
So be careful who you give your money to.
Exactly.
Samantha Magdaleno, back in 2019, also posted, and this is in 2019.
Yeah.
Caravans are already happened in 2019, right? She's talking about how she had posted that she is a mess. People are constantly upsetting her because they're under so much stress. And she's shown evidence. And instead of people being accountable and understanding the pain that is being caused by innocent people being retaliated against, she was told that they can't know who is on the Freshet board.
Wow.
They were told that the money that was given to Freshet for the defense of these water protectors that literally got themselves arrested, put their lives on the line, was now going to line 3.
Oh, they just switched.
If you can scroll up there, we can read the rest of it. They're told that the money's going to line 3. They're told that no one will talk to them, only their attorney. And she tags Winona LaDuke. She says, Winona,
Exactly.
here are people mishandling an organization you are associated with. These are your staff people,
Yeah.
Tara, Houska, Thane. I was told was or is on the board. Why haven't you taken them to the side as an elder and told them how not to treat your own people? At this point, we're unsure of what to do. Brendan is facing up to 15 years. So was Kathleen Bennett.
Yeah.
And they did little. Go to the next post. And they said what they got was a slap in the face for everything that they did at Standing Rock. She said, I'm tired of begging for something that was supposed to go to all water protectors that risked the most. And for what? I don't know. For them to be called beggars and lazy and everything else. That was the kind of retaliation people got when they tried to ask for money that was raised for them.
Exactly.
These are the people that are supposed to be our people, not being held accountable. They wear a mask claiming to be on our side, yet if they are on our side, they accidentally caused pain. Why wouldn't they want to fix that?
Yeah.
Not let their ego get in the way and act as if they never did anything wrong. Well, because their aim was always to keep the money.
Yeah. It wasn't about.
My guess.
Yeah, that'd be my guess too.
Because they never used it for what they were supposed to use it for. And now, from what we can tell, the plans for this $3 million island retreat is, sky's the limit. Here's the next post about the place on Rainy Lake. It says that this is continuing
Still
the post on
yeah.
Samantha.
Yeah.
I thought we were done with that, but it
Nope.
says she just continued talking about how Michael Marcus was an informant that the Freshet and the Water Protector Legal Collective did finance, did pay. They paid him to take a plea deal, and it just goes to show you the shenanigans going on in those supposed legal organizations. This is when I started to try to contact state bar associations and lawyers in the area, saying there are all of these crooked, corrupt lawyers that are out to make as much money as they can off of the suffering of other people in these protests during a time of civil rights turmoil in this country. And then, of course, a lot of this stuff culminated with a bunch of these crooked lawyers helping a coup in our country. Winona has also been working constantly throughout this debacle with Tara Houska. They have not broken ties, even though articles referencing the recent decision to order Winona LaDuke and the Honor the Earth to pay nearly $1 million in damages for all of the things that they did, saying that Tara Houska had left the organization after she learned of the lawsuit. They're
Yeah.
Here's a post from 2020, so you can see. This just gives you an example on Winona LaDuke post from November 24th, 2020, showing that the UU Church was holding a Zoom meeting in which they were honoring and speaking with the women of the strong women leadership that are sponsoring the Enbridge Line 3 protest.
Okay.
And in that is Shania Matson, Tara Houska, Don Goodwin, and Liz Jacola. And you see they're on the Zoom with Winona. In this next one, you'll see this is a post from December of 2020. Again, same time frame, just a month later. She's posting in mid-December about how the pandemic pipelines are being resisted, and Democracy Now! Featured an interview with Tanya Aubin, Don Goodwin, Tracy Dagan, Marianne Moore, and Tara Houska.
Okay.
And if you look at this post from 2021, you'll see that Winona LaDuke posted in just last year.
Yeah.
In March, a year ago, that they were protesting. Tara Houska was protesting with her new nonprofit collective, GNU Collective, and how they got arrested at the Mississippi headwaters.
Wow.
And she talked about how the courage of the water protectors to end the civil war in northern Minnesota and send Enbridge home continues.
Yeah.
And she posts the GNU Collective's page so you can follow them. So you see these people continuing to work together.
Yeah.
There is no severed relationships because Winona is a protector of pedophiles and has been for many years. And in this lawsuit, a lot of these things came out during the trial, and it's embarrassing for everyone that's been supporting that organization and Winona LaDuke specifically for decades. No, they aren't even hiding the fact that they continue to work together hand in glove. They just slap a new name on a new organization, buy an island, and let's go. Now let's take a look at this Rainy Lake property. The tribal attorney activist Tara Houska, who bought Rainy Lake's Bald Point for $3.1 million.
Jeez.
It has a 2,500-foot shoreline, Duke.
Really?
Take a look. And if you look at the beginning of this, you can see the beautiful property there. Rainy Lake started, according to this, Tara Houska is part of the Gomez-Schempp organization. Can you take us to Gomez-Schempp?
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like it says that right there.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to transfer the money from the property into that Gomez-Schempp.
Yeah.
And Rainy Lake, this is the first time that this property has been up for sale.
Wow.
This is the first time sale. Rainy Lake, Tara Houska, first time sale. Is the next slide. A sprawling international false property offering nearly a half mile, private Rainy Lake shoreline sold for $3.1 million to activist and attorney Tara Houska. The 16-acre property, known as Baldy Rock Point, has been in the same family for generations and has never before been offered in the real estate market.
Huh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
how
it
they
is.
were able to get this private
and
island and
$3.1 million.
and a property that's never been offered for sale.
Yeah.
It's really important because this is a private deal.
Yeah.
This is a private sale.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next slide
Okay.
and take a look at what they said about this property, what they're going to use it for. They want to do, it's not going to be your spiritual center, like Miss Corbine said in her post on Facebook. According to this article and interview, Houska plans on making this her home. She's going to live in it. But also she's going to transform the property into a place where the community is welcome. And traditional native activities such as wild rice harvesting are practiced. She's still kind of in shock that she even got it. She said, it will mean so much to our community, our tribe, the neighboring tribes, native people in general, environmentalists, young people looking to reconnect with the earth.
Wow.
It's going to be great for everyone. That's what they told us about the money being raised for Freshet and the Water Protector Legal Collective. Mm-hmm. All of those videos done by activists, all of those videos done by Myron Dewey and the rappers and Chase Iron Eyes and all these people saying, send us money for protecting the sovereignty and the rights of Native American people. They didn't mention an island mansion, did they?
I know. In a remote area that people can't even get to, you know.
How in the hell are people going to get to this place?
That's right. That place closes down in wintertime, you know. Mm-hmm. It's frozen lakes and no way to get there. Yeah.
Let's go to the next slide. So it says here that she's actually a member of the Cochee-Ching First Nation, founder of her new nonprofit Ginu Collective, and that she served as the Native American advisor to presidential campaigns of Bernie Sanders, led the resistance efforts in the oil pipelines with the Red Warrior Camp, and she is also she's got her first baby for the new house.
Okay, I see.
She also said in this interview she grew up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she grew up on Rainy Lake. So she wants this to be a gift for her daughter. So it's going to be a multi-purpose thing. And of course, Tara Houska and Woody Woods, not Woody Woodpecker, Woody Woods with Move It Real Estate Group, who has known Houska and her granddaddy. By the way, Houska was adopted by white people.
Okay.
But knew Houska's granddaddy and had helped Tara with two previous Rainy Lake property purchases.
Okay. Moving that money.
Uh-huh. This isn't the first purchase, Duke.
I see.
This is purchase number 3.
Wow.
Uh-huh. And he said the Bald Point listing presented an exceptionally rare opportunity to own the most centrally located piece of land on the west end of the lake. It's a massive lake. He said, I don't know of any bigger private sale.
Wow.
And there's more. There's more. Take a look at this next. It's not just a mansion on an island, okay? It's not just a mansion on an island worth $3.1 million. And it's not just the third Rainy Lake property they've purchased.
Yeah.
This particular Rainy Lake property marks the border of Minnesota and Ontario.
Okay, it's way up there.
It's on the border with Canada.
Okay.
Like the Butterfly Sanctuary in Texas. Like the Tohono O'odham
exactly.
with Mexico. This particular purchase abuts Canada with the eastern 2/3 of the lake's shoreline protected within the Voyageurs National Park.
Wow.
Part of the property is protected shoreline within a federally protected national park on a giant lake
Wow.
that is abutting Canada.
I see.
And specifically Ontario. Very strategic.
Yeah, very much.
Very expensive. And very exclusive. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah, very much.
This purchase of this property? I'm very curious. And they're going to make it into a community center? Who's going to go there besides her kid who's already going to be living there on the property? Well, let's go on to the next slide talking about this. Woods estimates, the guy that sold Woody Woods.
Woody Woodpecker?
Yeah, he said the lake is massive, and he estimates only around a dozen miles of shoreline could ever be explored for development. But they could be explored for development. They could, the nonprofit that they rolled all of this money, that was the hugest scam out of Standing Rock. Millions and millions of dollars handed over to protect the sovereignty and the rights of Native people given to half-white pretend Indian adopted by white people Indians that they were put in the head of Standing Rock, who've now bought themselves $1 million mansions. Black Lives Matter did it. And so is Honor the Earth people doing it. And this guy, Woody Woods, he thinks that Tara Houska's vision for this land is amazing. He was worried that somebody else might have bought this property and put condos on it. Hopefully, these Native American women will definitely be better land stewards than some of the other more unscrupulous buyers that could have taken over the property.
Right.
And Rainy Lake is going to be, according to Tara Houska, she's checking out partnerships with other nonprofits and organizations for the next chapter, while she's also trying to learn more about the history of the land. She knew that there were cabins in the 30s out there, and she's going to look into making it into a Native women's retreat.
Oh, yeah.
So you could have language camps and other cultural immersion opportunities. She's just looking at all the different partnerships where this could be sounds like it's going to be a profitable business. So let's go to the sexual harassment lawsuit lost by LaDuke. Because all of this information is coming out at the same time. The same time that the mansion on the island is being purchased by Winona LaDuke's mentee, Tara Houska. Honor the Earth's Winona LaDuke has lost a sexual harassment case to a former employee and must pay out $750,000. And according to the article, Winona LaDuke ignored harassment, and jurors decided that Margaret Campbell, after filing her lawsuit against Honor the Earth, should be paid for damages for sexual harassment, unpaid leave, and reprisals. That means she was retaliated against for complaining about the sexual harassment of a person that not only sexually harassed her, but was accused of sexually assaulting minor occasions. Now, the attorneys for Campbell said they were very happy for her and that they were proud of her for not staying silent, which is a hell of a thing to have the courage to do when she was bringing complaints about this for 14 years.
Wow.
Sexual harassment, abuse of children, all of this was going on for 14 years. This woman fought to get justice, and she reported the harassment to her boss, and rather than protect her, other people in the community, her own children, her own adopted children who were part of the group of children being sexually molested, Winona LaDuke attacked and retaliated against this employee.
Well,
and this is an important win for employees and a reminder to employers that they have a responsibility to end workplace harassment and abuse whenever they're notified about it. The lawsuit, which was filed back in 2019, laid out the sexual harassment allegations by Campbell against her coworker, Michael Dahl, and the fact that Winona LaDuke and other Honor the Earth leaders ignored her reports in 2014 and in 2015, and then proceeded to retaliate against Campbell.
Wow.
Winona says Winona actually threatened Campbell after she brought the allegations, telling her that she should stay quiet or her statements against Dahl could be used as the grounds for a defamation lawsuit against her.
Oh, jeez.
And in an open letter, LaDuke and Honor the Earth, Campbell and 40 other community members asked the organization to take action and to create victim-centered policies for dealing with complaints, according to the lawsuit. But after that, LaDuke sent Campbell a cease and desist notice.
Wow.
So she threatened her with legal action, and her lawyer tried to just get the whole lawsuit dismissed.
Wow.
On the basis, by the way, that Honor the Earth and the organization, which is on tribal property, is outside of Becker County's jurisdiction.
Oh, boy.
And therefore, they couldn't even make a ruling on the employment practices of Honor the Earth.
Jeez.
She tried to use her
sovereignty.
on her Indian sovereignty to get out of responsibility for hiding the sexual abuse for years of this man, Michael Dahl.
Wow.
Those efforts failed. And Winona she tried to shirk responsibility till the bitter end. She's still trying to shirk responsibility and has not taken responsibility. She was forced to take the responsibility in terms of stepping down as the nonprofit executive director and paying this hefty fine, which of course she's not going to pay out of her own pockets.
Yeah.
That money is going to come out of Honor the Earth and is going to be paid onto this poor woman. But in a statement responding to the jury's decision, which she didn't show up for, LaDuke noted that the Minnesota Department of Human Rights had investigated her twice and had found no probable cause. So the fact that your jury of peers today, in April of 2023, I've told you that the decision is that you failed to protect your workers and that you retaliated, that means you get punitive damages because she went above and beyond. She didn't just not listen. She didn't just ignore sexual harassment and misconduct against children by her spiritual advisor. She retaliated and took action to harm the victim in this case and to try to make sure she could never get employed again. Wow. That's what she did.
Jeez.
And as we move forward, she said in this statement, Winona said, as we move forward from the court's decision, we remain committed to resisting all forms of sexual harassment, violence, and assault.
Oh, yeah.
Honor the Earth is an organization predominantly led by Indigenous women. Yes, like Tara Houska.
Mm-hmm.
And the new executive director, who we're going to talk about in a minute, they are still predominantly and have always been predominantly led by women. How much Native, I don't know. How much closely associated with their practices, since some of them have been adopted by white people and raised as white people their whole lives, I can't tell. But I will say this. Winona LaDuke's lawyer also did not show up for this reading. LaDuke, Bobo, her lawyer, and Honor the Earth representatives were all MIA at the Becker courthouse when the verdict was read. A letter that came from the lawyer, Bobo, to the court said that LaDuke was busy attending a Tribal Utilities Commission meeting, which is on White Earth Reservation, which is 15 minutes away from the courthouse. Duke.
Wow.
She was 15 minutes away from the courthouse, and she didn't go down there because she said she was busy.
Yeah, I'm too busy.
No. I think she didn't go down there because it was too embarrassing.
Yeah.
And the lawyer did not return any messages to the forum for this interview or this article. Mm-hmm. LaDuke is Ojibwe and the founder of Honor the Earth back in 1993. But Winona LaDuke fronts lots of different organizations. She was the executive director for the organization Honor the Earth, but she also ran for U.S. vice president of the Green Party candidate. Mm-hmm. She played a role in protesting the Enbridge Line 3 pipeline that crossed northern Minnesota and includes the White Earth Reservation and Fond du Lac reservations. And LaDuke is also an Informed columnist. She's also written for the forum for a long time, which is why they use such kid gloves in writing about her in this forum article.
Yep, exactly.
But I have others, which they took the gloves off in. So let's go to the other articles that didn't treat her like she is one of their employees, one of their writers, which the forum recognizes in that last paragraph she is.
Yep.
So in this article by the Indians.com News, the headline is Deliberate Disregard. The jury's own words.
Wow.
Winona LaDuke's organization found liable, and also Winona LaDuke herself was found liable in sexual harassment. And according to the Indians.com article, she had a deliberate disregard for the sexual harassment. And I want to show you in this article, they called the verdict by the jury a stunning verdict against Honor the Earth, the nonprofit founded by a former U.S. vice presidential candidate and citizen of White Earth Nation, executive director for Honor the Earth, who was found responsible for 1 count of sexual harassment and 2 counts of reprisal, which means retaliation against her employee, by clear and convincing evidence.
Wow.
She acted with deliberate disregard for the rights and safety of others.
Jeez.
And also the jury found that by clear and convincing evidence, Winona LaDuke and Honor the Earth acted with deliberate disregard for the rights of others and their safety in connection with her retaliating.
Wow. 2 counts.
2 counts, because she did it more than one way. Let's look further. This is a little section about her not showing up to the reading. According to the 6-page verdict, Honor the Earth has to pay $375,000 in compensatory and punitive damages.
Wow.
See, that's on top of the $375,000 awarded for the damages of sexual harassment. She had to pay punitive damages because she ignored it And she was found to be deliberately disregardful of that. But in addition to that, they found malice. They found that she did this maliciously because you can't get punitive damages unless you prove malice.
Wow.
So on top of the 375, they put another 375 for the retaliation. And the sexual harassment, according to the senior staff attorney for gender justice, which represented this woman, Mrs. Campbell, who sued Honor the Earth, they said that this is a widespread problem, sexual harassment in the workplace, and that LaDuke was responsible to try to stop that abuse. Everyone deserves a workplace free from discrimination and abuse. But LaDuke did not show up for the reading of the verdict. Neither did her attorney.
Wow.
And according to an email that was filed, she was attending a meeting and would not be able to return in time to hear the verdict. But in this article, they note that the southern border of the reservation is only 15 minutes from the courthouse in Becker County.
Okay.
Highlight the hypocrisy, if not the chutzpah of her refusing to be at the reading of the verdict, which also shows her disdain for the justice system, her disrespect for the court's verdict. The judge was told to read the verdict out loud without Bibeau, the lawyer, or LaDuke being there, which they did.
Yeah.
And of course, this case was filed 3 years ago. Winona's two kids, Winona diminished the court findings in her public response, saying that not only did the Minnesota Department of Human Rights investigate this and find that there was nothing that to pursue in terms of legal action. She also said that Indigenous women are the primary leaders of her organization, so they're going to continue on their mission to protect sustainability for Indigenous communities.
Yeah.
And she also highlighted her organization's history of courageous work in environmental circles.
Oh, okay.
So, suck on that. By the way, Winona's two children were involved in the sexual harassment.
Really?
Because this all stemmed from time when Campbell, the defendant, or the plaintiff in this case, working with the Michael Dahl, the shaman dude.
Okay, that's right. That's
right. Who sexually harassed her. The statement made by Honor the Earth referred to both of these employees as contract employees because they all both worked for her organization through 2015. But in court, Campbell showed that LaDuke repeatedly was made aware of sexual misconduct at her organization involving this particular guy, Dahl, and another citizen of the White Earth Nation.
Okay.
Not just Dahl. According to the lawsuit, some of the incidents involved minor children, boys to be exact, including two of LaDuke's adolescent sons who were taking part in horse rides that were organized by Honor the Earth in 2014. So her own, I believe they're adopted children. Again, these adopted kids are getting treated like crap. The adopted children being sexually harassed. Her own adopted sons being sexually fed, made available to this predator who she's repeatedly been told about. I want to make sure that you take this into account because there were other children that were being abused and that were being predated on, that Winona LaDuke looked the other way, and which led to the deaths of those children.
Yeah.
She was more than happy to jump on the bandwagon of exploiting and using these children for fundraising when it suited her organization. Winona had Michael Dahl doing horse riding for Honor the Earth. Here's a picture of her on one of those horse rides, which she posted back in 2014. They're talking about them doing these pipeline rides. And there's her and Michael Dahl. And yeah, they're on their horse ride. But Winona LaDuke also failed to inform the Indigo Girls, according to this article. It says here that she was retaliated against by Winona LaDuke, placed on leave, and then the entire board of directors and Honor the Earth were informed why she was resigning in February of 2015, excuse me. Board members reacted very strongly. Some of them expressed grave concerns about the severity of the complaints involving Michael Dahl. But Emily from Indigo Girls is quoted in this article to say that she knew nothing about this. This is what she said. Quote, "This is the kind of thing we have to be in the loop on because of issues around potential press and social media," Amy Ray said of herself and Emily Sailors of the Indigo Girls, musicians within the Indigo Girls, whose popularity helped to promote Winona LaDuke's Honor the Earth organization since they founded it back in 93.
I bet.
And she went on to say, "We also heavily associate with Honor the Earth that this type of thing could be super damaging," Ray said in an email filed in court. "The people we have brought into the fold and the members from our fan base that support Honor the Earth depend on us to be responsible about who we suggest as groups to support." Sounds like from this, Winona LaDuke kept them in the dark for years. Because the Indigo Girls are not only involved as founders, they've served on the board. They're well aware of the people.
They've made lots of money for Honor the Earth. I've been to several of their concerts, and they mixed in, activism and music, and this is not Closer to Fine.
But
that's one of their songs. Anyways,
do you see their statement kind of pulling back from Honor the Earth and saying, in this article anyway, or excuse me, this article is quoting an email that was produced in court. So maybe they did not give in any interviews, or maybe they didn't say anything about how they really felt about this secret that was kept from them. Exactly. Do you really believe that they were not aware, even though they have served on the board?
I don't know.
And are founders of the organization? How could they not know Michael Dahl was being accused?
And we did a scandalous accusations. We did that years ago.
How is it that they didn't hear about it at the Indigo Girls? Do you believe that?
It's hard to, as you said, the coverage, the Indigo Girls are going to be trying to read local, posts and newspapers in Minnesota. They're not from here. But
they're not from here, but they're definitely tight in with Winona LaDuke. I'm going to show you some other things that they've done more recently and ask you again if you think that they were completely unaware and whether they are really as upset as they seem to be about being kept in the dark, as it seems that they were in this article, or the way that it was portrayed in this article. Continuing from the article, you see that there was an absolute of silence at Honor the Earth, which came back to haunt the organization. Silence about sexual abuse, sexual harassment against employees, and according to this and the judge determination about the organization and Winona LaDuke herself, they intentionally destroyed material evidence that was going to be presented in this hearing.
Really? Wow.
To try to derail Campbell's sexual harassment and retaliation claims. They tried to stop the evidence from being heard in court by hiding it. Honor the Earth was later ordered to pay $52,900, basically almost $53,000 to Gender Justice for compensation as a sanction, as a fine.
Okay.
Because they failed to produce evidence that they had been requested of them numerous times in this case. And as the lawsuit finally went to trial, the judge informed the jury about all of these failures on Honor the Earth and Winona's part to produce the evidence and discovery. Quote, in this case, the court has determined that defendant Honor the Earth intentionally destroyed some emails from a time period including January to May of 2015.
Wow.
That's what the instructions to the jury from the judge stated, including that Honor the Earth was required to preserve all of their emails as evidence, but instead it intentionally destroyed them in an effort to deprive Margaret Campbell of that relevant evidence for her case.
Wow.
And based on that, the jury was instructed that they should infer that that evidence, which they can't see, was harmful to Honor the Earth and Winona LaDuke and helpful to Margaret's claims. And Margaret's legal team was able to uncover, despite the fact that they did not produce all the evidence, they were able to uncover some very damning evidence, including a series of text messages in which Winona LaDuke acknowledged that she needed to talk about the sexual misconduct allegations against Michael Dahl, where she reached out to him, telling him, quote, "You're in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah.
I think and I want to help you get out of that pickle if I can, or at least to be your friend." Because she has compassion and understanding and time to give the man accused of pedophilia and sexual harassment.
Her friendship.
Because she's his friend.
Yep.
And she wants to help him get out of the pickle. I think she was hiding the pickle in all of this.
Yep, exactly.
I think they were trying to hide the pickle. I think that's what the game that they were playing was, hide the pickle.
Hide the pickle.
And in this next part of the article, we learn that not only, none of this was in the forum article, by the way, which had Winona LaDuke writing for them regularly, as they stated in their own piece. So that's why I had to bring you another source, because they left so much out. In this source from Indians.com, they talk about more than one allegation against Michael Dahl involving minor children, pedophilia, in other words. And in another message that was produced in court by LaDuke, she acknowledged that she was aware of allegations, plural, against Michael Dahl. And her, quote-unquote, need to get it all worked out. Because I believe in you, she said to Michael Dahl. And furthermore, Dahl responded to her, "I know nothing about any allegations on White Earth," when he was asked specifically about one of the allegations. But he said he could find out who was complaining about him. Documents in court also showed a wide range of Native environmental movements people who were aware of the allegations against Michael Dahl. And instead of helping, Campbell went to other Native American organizations like the Indigenous Environmental Network and Dallas Goldtooth and told them what was wrong, what was happening to her, what was happening at Honor the Earth before her resignation and grievances were sent to the board. And instead of helping her, Dallas Goldtooth and his communications with this woman were used as the basis to put her on leave.
Oh, wow.
From Honor the Earth in February of 2015. Looks like they were working in conjunction with Winona.
Yep.
And the Honor the Earth leadership. Those people are tight.
Oh, yeah.
Like uña y mugre, like we say in Spanish. Like nails and dirt. Fingernails and dirt. They're that close.
I see.
Native women also raised alarms about the other organizations mishandling and misconduct allegations. The lawsuit shows that other Native women and other Native organizations, besides Goldtooth's Indigenous Environmental Network, all complained. One of these people was Lana Stevens Hunter from the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition, and another was Bonnie Claremont from the Tribal Law and Policy Institute, who actually went in a sit-down meeting to meet with LaDuke and told her about sexual assault incidents involving Doll and a boy from White Earth Nation, the details of which matched the message that LaDuke then went and spilled the beans to the perpetrator, Michael Doll, about.
Okay.
Which involved this 15-year-old boy.
Jeez.
Yeah, so Winona was taking the information about allegations of sexual assault and predatory behavior by one of her employees directly to that employee.
Wow.
So that they could squash it.
Yep.
So they could figure it out.
They could put the pickle back in the jar.
And other nonprofit organizations like the Indigenous Environmental Network who were involved, who were made aware of the misbehavior of people in the leadership out at Standing Rock. What did they do? Nothing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
How consistent of them to all work in tandem and protect each other and cover for each other and not protect Indigenous people at all. So in this next part of the article, Winona dismisses previous reports of sexual abuse and violence. Not related to Michael Doll.
Okay.
Related to other people. In this article, not in the Inform, in Indians.com, a thorough article about Winona LaDuke and her organization. They talk about the open letter that was sent to LaDuke about her organization and what was going on with Doll. But they also expressed shock at the ways in which the Native women advocates said LaDuke diminished the sexual misconduct allegations during that meeting, that sit-down meeting they had.
Yep.
They said, as women, we already experience the endemic nature of misogyny, harassment, commodification of women and children, and violence against them in our communities. When our own Native organizations continue to dismiss reports of sexual violence and sexual harassment as insignificant, we contribute to the colonial climate of fear and hopelessness. And that is what Honor the Earth and Winona LaDuke have done.
Yeah.
Not only in this lawsuit, not only in this instant with the employee Campbell, but also with the children that were abused by Doll, with the horses that were starved to death and killed by Doll, and with other previous employees that came before Doll.
Yep.
Campbell's legal team discovered that the board and the staff at Honor the Earth were aware of sexual abuse allegation involving another person in LaDuke's circle, long after Campbell came forward about Doll. An employee referred to this second individual as a known sexual predator of young people, a known chomo, a known pedo. Yet they warned against dismissing him from the organization's workplace.
Wow.
There's a lot of boys that he inflicted trauma onto. The email from January of 2019 said, Winona, we need to hear from you on these other allegations. Board member Emily Sailors, the other half of the Indigo Girls, wrote in response.
Yeah.
So, to you, the question I asked you earlier, Duke, about whether or not the Indigo Girls were aware of sexual assault allegations, apparently not only from Michael Dahl, but from this other well-known child pedo.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is they did know. They demanded answers from her.
Yeah. They never got any.
And do you think they are concerned? Have they shown enough concern, anger, retro?
Just done something more public, like all funds, that sort of thing. They probably had so much tied into it that they just hoped it went away, or because this is like a fair amount of time has passed.
Well, let me tell you, in that article that we were just looking at, it goes on to say all of the funding sources for some of those people do better checking into the activities of the organizations that they're one of those groups is the Indian Collective that commingled and put a lot of money into Honor the Earth. Fresh had also put a lot of money into Honor the Earth. Tara Houska, they commingled that money. Pollination posted about the new co-executive director of Honor the Earth and current only executive director of Honor the Earth, Crystal Tubles, asking, and I'm assuming this is Jacqueline Keeler from Pollination, asking, so the Indian Collective didn't know Honor the Earth had a sexual harassment lawsuit pending? Even though the former Indian Collective employee, Crystal Tubles, is now the co-executive director of Honor the Earth?
Okay.
Why wouldn't she tell them about it?
Yeah, good question.
So in the article we were just reading, they were talking about how all of these nonprofits and funders of Honor the Earth, like the Indian Collective, were going to look more closely because apparently it had just been news to them.
Yeah.
New news about the sexual harassment and the pedophilia of children within the organization. But somehow the co-executive director and now currently the current executive director, because Winona has stepped down, is Crystal Tubles. And she already worked for the Indian Collective.
Wow.
How would they not have also known about what was going on since they were working within the two organizations? Here's her profile from Twitter, and it says that she is part of Honor the Earth, joined Twitter in January 2019, and according to people that follow Crystal Tubles, you can see here on Twitter, people that follow her include Dallas Goldtooth. I mean, she's following Dallas Goldtooth.
Okay.
And Nick Estes. And
Oh.
Secretary Deb Haaland.
Deb Haaland.
And the Indian Collective, where she used to work. And Tara Houska, the lawyer that's being investigated by the IRS that used to work at Honor the Earth with Winona LaDuke.
Boy, the plot thickens.
But we also look at who she's following. Take a look here. Followers include, followers are people that follow her.
Okay.
Oh, same people.
Same people, yeah.
Indian Collective,
Dallas
Nick
Goldtooth.
Estes, Dallas Goldtooth.
Tara.
There's Tara Houska. And Camu Bell, the comedian. Camu. Why? Camu! Okay, and then here's another portion of her followers. Naomi Klein.
Naomi Klein.
Honor the Earth. Part of that list. Harsh Walia. Nick
Sher.
Tilson of the Indian Collective.
Oh,
Nick Tilson
yeah.
has always been involved tightly and closely to Winona LaDuke
Mm-hmm.
and also to Chase Iron Eyes and
Oh, yeah.
also to all of the people out there in the leadership. In April 5th of 2020, they posted the new Honor the Earth executive director would be exclusively, now not co-directing, just the full executive director would be Crystal Tubles.
Okay.
And this is from her statement. She said, "Dearest relatives, it is with great heaviness and optimism that we move into a transition of responsibilities. After Winona LaDuke's establishment and leadership of this organization for over 30 years, I am reaching out to you today as the sole executive director of Honor the Earth." There it is. She's the sole.
Yeah.
She became the co-executive director just as it was clear that this decision was going to be coming out back in December of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just took over on April 5th as
Wow.
the full executive director, as the verdict has come out within the last week.
Jeez.
And Honor the Earth, in this next post here, part of the statement made here reads that the new Honor the Earth is going to set an example for other organizations about the deep work in communities, organizations and collectives and movement spaces that they still have to do around the issues of sexual harassment. Notice some people down there found that comment funny.
Okay, yeah.
And in their responses to this post, one of the members of the Trudell family said this: "This organization could have set an example to begin with by honoring and respecting women.
Mm-hmm.
You want to set an example as an organization going forward? Why didn't you start by believing and respecting and honoring women? Believing victims and not supporting predators. That's how you should have been an example to begin with.
Wow.
Instead, you have excuses that there was no policy in place for pedophilia, for sexual harassment. Being a good human doesn't require a policy."
Yeah, exactly.
And right after that comment by Miss Trudell, well, she goes on to say, also, this organization has proved that they are still supporting Winona LaDuke because they are, and the people know it. Just because you remove the executive director face and you put in someone working within their inner circle over at a allied organization, the Indian Collective, it doesn't mean that, and just because Tara Houska's not there and Winona's not there, it doesn't mean their hands aren't within these organizations still.
Yeah.
Mushkub Guidin responds saying, "Funny enough, Honor the Earth originated from my great-grandfather.
Oh.
Winona LaDuke is even using the image of my grandfather and great-grandfather for her own financial and personal gain.
Oh.
But I'd expect nothing less from a Waisichu woman,"
Which means white.
which means feeds
On the fat.
feeds on the extra fat, takes
Yep.
the extra,
Yep.
takes the things that she's not entitled to, which is what they're calling Winona LaDuke.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
Winona's apology and statements on behalf of Honor the Earth and upon reading of the verdict were not well received, Duke.
Okay.
A lot of people thought that her apology sucked. I agree.
Yeah.
Here's what Alicia Onzawa said. "Since I've been super busy lately, I've only been able to read some of the documents pertaining to the situation. But what I've managed to read is awful, including her so-called apology. I feel like she not only failed this young woman, she miserably failed the young boys at least twice. Once in defense of any pedo that she'd been warned about. And again, during her apology, she didn't seem to address the pedophilia and the children. My heart goes out to these male victims and any of our male relatives who are triggered by all of this.
Wow.
Our men and our young men are sacred too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt.
That wasn't the only a parade of anger with regard to her statement upon verdict. Here, we see people talking about her statement saying that her apology was actually just an attempt to save face and nothing more. Jim Wickle wrote, and Alicia responds to Jim, I can't help but feel that maybe she didn't even feel the need to save face. Pedestal people seem to have a sense of entitlement, of being untouchable. I tend to feel like these types of apologies are the same performance that we see time and again. Yep. I agree.
Yep, I do too.
And Jim Wickle responds right back and says, you've got a point. Once again, I'll reiterate that the performative aspect of movements, whether it be AIM, Chase Iron Eyes, Idle No More, Chase Iron Eyes, and also Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women movement, is what turned me away, especially when you add lots of money and fame into the mix.
Yeah.
I think at one time she may have been sincere, but that fame and money took her to another place. And if you know anything about Sun Bear, her father, we've already talked about Sun Bear, her father, on this show extensively. Alicia responds, yes, I've read up about him, Sun Bear, her daddy, and how his quote-unquote society was relocated to Georgia by some women. I've also seen some quote-unquote green ties with red flags, meaning some of these enviro organizations were being funded by big money. Once, I had a former friend to try to get me to use my bank account during an earlier camp. They said they had a benefactor. I wasn't told who, etc., but I knew things didn't feel right.
Yeah.
So I said no.
Yep. Good.
Yeah, lots of people got flummoxed, got defrauded from thousands of dollars to help people at the camp. You know, we made thousands of dollars in donations on top of the hundreds of hours of time that we devoted to jail support, on top of all of the years, literal years that we've put into reporting on what happened at Standing Rock and to the people in leadership there and beyond. You would think that an organization like Honor the Earth would do a little due diligence.
Yeah, you would think so, because they're well funded.
Or the people that funded them or supported them. I mean, you worked in the nonprofit world, and these funders, don't they do any due diligence when they're going to fund an organization?
Oh, yeah. You tend to get a relationship with financial people. You know, you get site visits. They come and visit other people in the organization, and you know they're basically do like a inquiry on who you are, so they can give you their money to you. You know, but as the guy said, you know, this celebrity status. I mean, this Winona LaDuke.
You think those celebrities get passes?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, because they're
because
everybody knows.
You're like, oh, I'm with a celebrity. Oh, the Indigo Girls. You know, it's like. And I'm meeting with Winona LaDuke, who's ran for vice president twice, and you know was a running mate to Ralph Nader, and who spent time in Washington D.C. with what's his name, Heart of Gold guy, old hippie singer,
Neil Young.
Neil Young, you know, and other musicians because of the connections with Indigo, you know, just that stardom type thing. So I can see people just kind of course, our money's safe with these high-profile public
celebrities.
People. Yeah.
That's what Wes did, too, you know. Of course our money's safe with Wes Clark Jr.'s dad.
Yeah.
Of course our money's safe if we're part of this organization Wes Clark is fronting, or his son is fronting.
Yeah.
I listened to Penalee's Draws. I don't think that's her real name, but this is one of the posts that she wrote about, you know, what the news is about Honor the Earth being tossed out on its ear and Winona LaDuke being a pedo defender. And they're having to stick their necks out now, like the Indigo Girls, and speak to it and say, oops.
Oops.
Here's what she said. Penalise Draws posted, well, community, I didn't expect to be here, but here we are. I just learned yesterday about the court case with Honor the Earth, the organization I partnered with to host festivals a few weeks ago.
Oh.
I didn't know this was going on, and I definitely didn't know the depth and extent of it. I was aware of a single issue many years ago and talked with various folks at Honor the Earth at the time, but had thought it was resolved in a good way. I'm not on the inside, though. I am friends with Honor the Earth folks, and seeing the inability to care for hard issues with clear eyes is really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I would not have partnered with Honor the Earth if I had known. It's very important to me to not elevate folks that are not ready to commit to healing, justice, and accountability.
Okay. Yeah.
I would have still partnered if Honor the Earth had a statement of moving forward with transformation and healing, an intent to developing a strategy to develop a strategy to ensure this was not going to be how things would be handled in the future. I do not believe in throwing away people. We know the legacies of abuse that have led to what we experience today, but I do believe in interrupting and naming things what they are, keeping our people safe and devotedly committed to 1, keeping safety for survivors and all people, 2, justice for survivors, 3, healing for all, including people who've been abusive and harm and caused harm. When and if they are ready. And number 4, accountability and restoration and restitution. Without all of those in place, we just continue cycles of silence and abuse that I am entirely sick of and done with. I know we can do better than this. In hindsight, I should have done better due diligence in the full circle of folks involved. I don't pretend that we can know and care for everything involved in large events, but I could have done better, and I am taking strong note. I was concerned due to oops, you need to go to the bottom.
Oh, next one.
The next one, yeah, you need to go to the bottom.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Okay.
In hindsight, I should have known better than to do diligence. I could have done better. Strong note. I was concerned due to the short organization window that things would be missed, and yes, they sure were. I'm hopeful for the future in the fact that Honor the Earth is transitioning to a new generation of leadership, and that this generation has comfort with stepping into these issues with healing and strength. And fundamentally, I wish healing and restoration for everyone involved.
Wow.
Okay. Well, here's what people think of that.
Well, actually, that's my slide.
Oh!
My slide tank is empty.
Your slide tank is empty. Well, let me just tell you what I think of that.
Okay.
And I'll show you on my next show what other people think of that. Yes, there is due diligence.
Yeah.
And I think there was just a little bit too much emphasis placed on restorative healing for the perpetrators.
Yeah.
Which include Winona LaDuke, which include Michael Dahl, which include the other person that was not named specifically, but I will be telling you who that other person is.
Oh, my.
Who is another known sexual predator of children. And it includes Nahko Bear, who was on the board.
Oh, yeah.
It includes a lot of other situations of mishandling of situations within Honor the Earth and its board and its shaman and its spiritual leadership against employees, against children, against the community. And why are the people that are writing about this, like the Indigo Girls and this woman who did a concert with Honor the Earth, so concerned about making sure there is restorative justice and healing for Winona LaDuke?
Yeah.
And for the perpetrators. I mean, I'm not completely heartless in I don't believe that all people that commit crimes should be thrown away.
Yeah.
But I definitely believe that the focus, especially at a time of justice like this, that we're finally seeing investigations into the mishandling of millions of dollars from Standing Rock by the IRS, and that we're seeing a verdict to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars against Winona LaDuke and Honor the Earth, that she personally be held accountable. Quit giving her platforms. Quit putting her at the head and the executive leadership with thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars at her disposal for her to decide what to do with, when she is protecting pedophiles and platforming fraudsters and fakes and villains. And when she has been known to do this for decades.
Yep, exactly.
Quit putting the people that you know are bad people doing bad things at the head of organizations that are for Indian and BIPOC and indigenous people. Stop doing that.
Yeah, really.
Let's start with that, and then maybe we can move forward. And I'm going to be bringing you more about this verdict and all the ways in which I think Honor the Earth and Winona LaDuke and Tara Houska and the people that were involved at Standing Rock in the leadership of the legal collectives, of the lawyers groups, and of the NGOs and nonprofits that were there to support indigenous people and indigenous rights, how those organizations need to be held accountable today. Because this ruling was against Honor the Earth, but there was a whole slew of nonprofit organizations, including the Indigenous Environmental Network in Dallas Goldtooth, that knew about the sexual assault allegations, the sexual harassment, and the pedophilia, and which did nothing to help. Okay? So those people need to be held accountable. Ruling from the court that says that these people did wrong. Media justice matters. Keep it dialed here to 88.1 FM, and we'll see you on the next A Mexican Crossing Lines, our next installment of PsyOp BS.
Number 13.
Number 14.
Number 14, yes.
Yes. This was lucky number 13.
Yeah, lucky 13.
And we'll see you for number 14 next time here on A Mexican Crossing Lines. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Good night.